So the first player with the red railroad follows suit with the green player. He takes a $100,000 loan, cuts track through to the rhyolite mines, and he doesn't want to hit here, not quite yet, so he's building here. Why doesn't he want to hit there? Well, because he's going to get a bonus from the mine, but he doesn't want to also get a bonus from hooking up the town. So right now he's paid $110,000 with that bond and hooked up a railway. Now he can make income too. This was the kind of the problem with where he was before. But it has an effect. His stock for his railroad goes up 12 bucks. All fine and good. The green one goes down 12 bucks, which makes that having missed some of the direction really painful. So he's down to there. And now the rhyolite mines actually get a benefit, which they should have before, and I missed that. They should have gotten a $24 benefit, and now they get another one, which again doesn't put them forward. I think I moved the green one accidentally, and I don't remember where the hell it was. These colors kill me. Because it looks blue. I don't remember what the Bullfrog one was at. Let's see how much money it has on it. That should tell me a good deal. It has 20. Assuming he put 10 in. That ain't gonna help either. Why would it have 20? He may have started at 13, but who knows where it went to. I'm damned if I know. Luckily I'm filming it, so I can try to look back. I'll be back in a little bit. Alright, from what I can tell, looking back at the video, it should be here at the 18 spot. That's fine. For whatever reason. Now let's take a look at why this happened. It's these damn charters that are much, much worse than anything I've seen for, say, XX. I look at this one, this one, this one, even this one. They all look kind of the same to me. They're subdued colors and they're just not sinking in which company I'm playing with. And the railroads aren't too much better. They're a little bit better and I haven't made an error with them. But this is the second time I've pulled an error based on these charter colors. It may not be such a hard thing if you're playing one company. But it's difficult for me to keep track of these. Alright, where the hell was I now? I was in the midst of an action by the Red Train Company, which built to here. They went up, the green went down, and now blue would go further up by, what, another 12. They already lost quite a bit on the last connection. Now on this one they're losing again. And this is what happens when one player controls the railroad and another player controls the mine. You can't coordinate quite as well. Of course, the fact that green hooked them up and controlled both, I believe, if I can tell, indicates that even somebody who's playing it might help cause the problem. Okay. Now why did I do this one? Why is the red company going? That's because it's the first player. Cool. Okay. So this is the first action of the second round again. And that really kind of confused the hell out of me, the whole thing. And now we'll go to the second guy and onward. Okay, I didn't take everything into account here and I kind of screwed some things up. Let's go through the actions and I'll clean up what I did wrong. We've done the red player's turn, which was connecting up his rail, not the red player, but the Silver Peak Railway's turn, which was connecting up to this mine. Now, let's look at who else went. The number 2 player looked at his situation and said, wow, I have this gold center mining, somebody's going to hook me up, I need to get a building there so that I can take that investment bonus. So he bought himself a certificate. Now that cost 15 bucks, 15,000 bucks from his pocket into his company treasury, which he may get most of that back. But now here's what I forgot. I forgot to give him a $5 bonus to his company income for that investment. That increases the investment worth of the company. Likewise, the number 3 player invested in the Tonopah because he's afraid the Black Railroad can just hit him at any point. he paid 17,000, and that shoots him up to 22. Okay. Those are the two things I forgot. When we go over to player 4 here, damned if I know what he did. Ah, yes. He had his railroad build a building for his mines, thereby opening up for his railroad and his mine the ability to move forward in extra space. So his railroad can now go up to 75,000, right? No. Yeah, 75,000. And his mine can go up to 50,000. But it's kind of like closing the barn doors after the horses have left. The big money's already happened, and he's cursing himself for what he's done to himself. He could have paid out of pocket to build that building. Well, no, he couldn't. He didn't have out of pocket to build that building. And he couldn't pay out of the company. He felt he had to do it this way. And it's really kind of hosed him. Now to the last player over here. And he still has not taken advantage of his special ability. He wanted to see what kind of stocks are valuable. And he's kind of forgot about that he had the special ability. But let's look at what he did with his company. He built another house with his railroad. That's opening his railroad up to being able to push forward and connect up. Not his mining company, but this guy's. And this guy's got the cash to build a house. He really, I think, should probably buy a share of that if he can. That looks like a good deal at this moment. There are other companies that are a good deal also, but if he has the cash, he should buy a share of something. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. He has 16,000. Not enough to buy that. The only thing he could buy is the Goldfield mine. And he's not going to have cash to buy anything more than that. So he's going to buy that. Goldfield mines. It doesn't really matter when he does it, but I'm going to let him do that as a trigger right now. And that shoots its price up to 18,000, and he's now the first investor in the game. It's just because he has that extra action. He probably wouldn't have spent the money otherwise. But now, hey, he gets a pile of money this turn. Maybe he can get control of that mine and have a second mine under his control. And that's not far from his rail either. So it's an interesting concept. Okay, and we're going to be going into the third round here. I'm again stopping in the midst of the fourth player's round, so I want to catch up to that before I go into what he's doing. Let's look at the first player. We really had a housing frenzy. First the Goldfield consolidated, and then the Gold Center, and finally the Tonopah, all built buildings. They see railroads nearby that are going to hook them up, and they want to take advantage of them, unlike some of the other people. And now we come to this guy. He's running the Tonopah Goldfield and Railroad Company. And here's what he did. He took out a $250,000 bond. He couldn't get away with anything less. He needs $110,000 this turn, and he didn't have the $10,000. Here's where he's going. 50, 100, 110. He's connected up a lot of stuff. Let's see how much that nets him. First of all, let's take care of this one. That's at 24. Actually, he may not build here. If he doesn't build here, he can get by with the lesser bond, and I'll take care of that in a moment. Let's see what he's going to get, though. He's going to get 24.48 for this. That puts him... Ooh. I doesn't want this much at all. I miscalculated here. 48 is going to put him well above 75, and he only has 2 houses, so he can only go up to 75. So he doesn't want all of this. So let's see what he's going to want. He's going to want to buy a mine connection at 24. 36, that puts him real close. That's good. So who does he want to hose? Does he want to hose the guy holding Silver Peak or the guy holding Bullfrog? Bullfrog is this guy over here. It's hard to tell what he really has. And Silver Peak is this guy over here who's got 2 mines. To me it seems unfair, a potentially unfair advantage to have 2 mines over my position. So I'm going to aim for the Silver Peak, and I'm going to build to here as well, and I will build up here. So that's actually only $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. I don't need one of these. Instead I can get by with this, and I'm going to owe a lot of money back. I'll figure that out in a moment. Okay, after reshuffling that money, let's look at what happened though to this Silver Peak mine, as well as to him, because we didn't calculate that. We calculated the bonus, but we didn't actually do it. So he's going to get 24 plus 12 is 36. That's 60, 74. He's just ringing in under the bell. Now, if he were to pay dividends, which he can't, he'd bust the thing. But he's got all these bonds, so he knows he's going to fall back. Now let's look, and this is making his stock incredibly expensive. If anybody wants to buy a share of this, they're going to flood his treasury with money and help buy back those bonds. So nobody really wants to except maybe him. Okay, so let's look at what this has on Silver Peak's effect, which is, it just got a 24 buck bonus, but it doesn't have the rail, so it hits the wall here. Bang. No help for them. Okay. Now, let's see what else is going on. We have the 6th player. I might as well talk my way through his turn. No? I think I'll think a little bit, because he's got some hard decisions too. His decision is actually not hard at all. He's got the Bullfrog mines, which are threatened. Both red and green could hit him, well, there's somebody who gets an extra action. This guy does. He could run track to Bullfrog. But he can't, because he's up against the wall. If he wanted to crush Bullfrog at the cost of his own railway, he would have done so. So you know what? This guy's going to say, I can take the pass on Bullfrog right now. What I can't do is, or what is to my advantage though, is I can run through here and build some quick track there. So I'm going to build a railway track, and I'm actually going to be spending $30,000. I actually have that kind of cash. Of course, I'm going to go in debt when I end up having to pay my loans. I've got $100,000 in loans. You can only take 1 loan per action, but it can be any size you like. Okay, but you don't want to take the big ones because they're harder to repay. So he's going to build through here. Hey, yippee-ki-yay. He's hooked up a building, so now he's got a 3 building bonus. 1, 2, 3. He can go up to $100,000. He's got a huge railroad here, but it's been helped because this guy didn't want to lose his money. It's good to cooperate, right? That's great. All right, so let's see what we ended up with. We ended up with hitting a mine. That gives me 24, and being the first in the city is 12 more. So I get 36 bucks. That's 60, 70. That's great. The mine, on the other hand, also gets 24, and he's got a building, so he's able to pass by that and go up to 44. And he's now got far and away the most valuable mine because he was able to get that action in play. And now I'm beginning to see, you know, maybe having the mine for the longest time is a big deal, but it doesn't look like the mines are going to pan out and die before someone is able to break that 100 maybe. I don't know, we'll see. The balance may be that that's a really unlikely end scenario. All the mines dying out. And that's the end of that. Now we go to whatever the hell it is, that maintenance phase, where we develop the mines, and then we do a bunch of administrative stuff with the money. Let's start developing the mines, see what they go for. Green one goes up, no, that's the blue one. I swear I can't tell. I mean, having green near the blue makes it look greener. The blue one goes up 6. He has a building now, so he can increase. Lucky him. And that means he's going to make 31 bucks. Oh, wait. He gets an action at the end of the cycle before that happens. Wow, what does he want to do? Hard to remember some of these things. Damn. So he has the green railroad and the blue company. The green railroad wants to build another house. Does it have that kind of cash on hand? It does. It'll build a house, and this helps a lot of people here in Railite. And that gives us a boom town advantage, which if I can find it on this chart is hard to read. Everything's hard to read in this game for me, actually. The boomtown advantage, there's only one railroad, so it produces 12 bucks for the railroad, and the mine also gets a 12 buck advantage. It's the first time I think we've seen a town near a mine become bonus. Well, there's 2 towns, or 2 mines near that town, so they actually only get 6 bucks each. Alright, let's look at the railroad first. He gets 12 bucks, and that puts him up to 86. The mines, blue can go up 6. And Bullfrog doesn't have a house. He wasn't really counting on this. He's not going to be able to expand well from the dig this time. Alright, now let's go to that dig. And like I said, we had a 6 for whatever blue is, Railite. And over here, at Bullfrog, we get an 8. And that's all wasted, because he doesn't have anywhere to go. And now, Silver Peaks, which is a red one, only goes up 1. He doesn't have a building. He's not going that even. And everybody's kind of cursing, oh shit, this is another thing I didn't remember. Okay. But, you know, this is how, I guess you learn the game, but it's a tricky combination of things. Yellow's going to go up 1. Manhattan doesn't have a lot of room, but doesn't pick a huge number. So it goes up. Tonopah has a building, so they have a lot more room. They go up 4. What about these other railways, the blue and the black? They didn't do anything this turn. Kind of sitting there and losing money in a sense. That's money that could have been invested in something else, perhaps. And finally, the Goldfield is going to go up 2, and it has no problem closing that gap. These are all shallow, so I'll put them over here because they're not going to be in play again. Well, now we pay out interest, etc. Well, we do all these sort of economic maintenance tasks. And I'm afraid last turn I forgot to pay out and not pay out dividends. Where I paid out dividends, I think I forgot to improve the stock market value. And equally bad for the railroads, I forgot to pull the stock value back. So this isn't a fair play. I'm trying to get an idea of the game here. And I think I'm getting a pretty good idea, but I'm making a lot of mistakes along the way, as I often do. Okay, so the stock shares, well, they've paid their dividends, etc. Basically, income was collected, interest was paid, some bonds were paid off, usually smaller ones. So this guy had a $50,000 bond. He was able to pay that off. This guy was able to pay one of them off. However, the railroads still can't produce income, so all the railway companies dropped on the chart. The mines, and I can't really go back and fix whatever I did wrong in the first turn, had a more subtle choice. The railways really didn't have a choice, right? They either had bonds, which means they can't pay dividends, or they had nothing and dropped down in value. And this is what's really key here. I'm seeing those, the railways look like they get this huge jump in income because they have a town on them. They get this $12 bonus. But now, if you don't develop that railway, the stock starts plummeting. And we're seeing these at $17 a share. People have enough cash, they can grab control of those railways if they want. So maybe those early purchases, my 18XX thinking of must grab as many, controlling certificates as I can, aren't really working because you only have 3 actions. It's not that you don't get to run each railway, right? So yes, there's an advantage to holding and controlling these companies, but it's not as much. And if you don't pay attention to them, you may just lose them. And the money you invested, well, it doesn't get completely thrown away because honestly, you get that big boost. And I think your share is still going to be worth about what you paid for it. But you're not getting a lot of return early, which is where you want it. Now with the mines, you had a different decision. Early on, everybody paid their dividends. Why? Well, they didn't have enough money to build a house with it. Now though, some of the things had the money to pay a house. Some of them, the player paid for the house out of their pocket. So we see a bit of shakeup. Yellow, for example, here, the gold center, that only has 1 house. It paid dividends. It doesn't have money for a second house. And now it's got no room to expand. Somebody's going to have to build it for it. And you know what? I don't think that the Yellow Railroad is all that thrilled with helping them. They got what they wanted from them. The hell with it. Now they're going to move on and try to connect Rhyolite and then down to the mines down there because that's where he wants to go. So now the Gold Center Company is kind of in the same struggle that some of the other companies are in, even though it got hooked up by a rail that wasn't its own. It's got a good stock value, but where can it go with it? It's going to have to pay, and maybe the player's going to have to kick in cash of his own to make that house built so that he can get more income off of it because he's holding 2 shares. Now, kicking in cash of his own may mean buying the 3rd share at $50. That seems reasonable because he'll get that all back outside of what's in the house, and then he also gets the extra share. Of course, from then on, it's his company. He's got to play it completely, as though he owns it. All right, some of the other choices. Well, basically, companies that had the house and didn't need it chose to pay out, and I'm including the yellow one in that. The ones that didn't have the house had a harder choice. Some of them had to take a hit to go back and are going to have to, they took a stock hit in order to not pay out so that they have the cash on hand to go forward. Some of the others were able to go forward, maybe not all the way though. They got a $5 bonus but didn't pass the 25. There's a lot of interesting little decisions here. And I think this game has, so many little twists and factors that go into your decisions that it's going to be a very nuanced game in terms of what do you do when. And I'm really impressed with it so far. All right, I'm going to load this one up.